Good morning, dear students. Hope you all are fine. Today we are going to read textbook pages 92 and 93. Kindly take out your textbooks and write date and day on these two pages. Our learning objectives for today are to learn about stored energy and to learn about energy of motion. First of all, let's discuss the keywords for today. We are going to discuss two keywords today: potential energy and kinetic energy. The definitions of these keywords are given on page number 119 of your textbook. Potential energy. It is the stored energy that has not yet been used. Potential energy changes into another kind of energy when you use it. Kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. For example, a snowboarder and a car both have kinetic energy while they are moving. So all of the moving things have kinetic energy. First of all, we will discuss the stored energy. As we all know, energy is the ability to do work. We need some energy to perform different tasks, and this energy can be in different forms. Energy can be stored, and later on this energy can be used to perform different work. We need energy to perform different tasks, for example, to jump, to run, and to skate, and many different things. The energy that you use to perform all these tasks is actually the stored energy in your body. We all can move just because of this stored energy, and this stored energy is called the potential energy. We all know very well that the energy can be changed from one form to another form. So potential energy can also be changed into other kinds of energy if you use it to do work or if you cause some change. Our waste object actually have some potential energy due to the force of gravity. What is force of gravity? It is the force with which Earth pulls an object towards its center. Earth is pulling every object towards its center with a specific force which is called the gravity, and that's why we are able to walk on the earth. For example, you can see this skateboarder in the picture. He is on the top of a hill and he is having a lot of potential energy because he is on a high position, and due to the force of gravity, he has some potential energy stored in him. We can get potential energy simply by stretching or compressing different objects. When we compress them, the energy is stored in the object, and when we stretch them, same happens. Look at this picture. You can see the normal size of the spring shown in first place. On the second place, the spring is compressed. When it is compressed, it becomes smaller in the size, and it stores some of the potential energy in it. And similarly, when we stretch the same spring, it is elongated, but it still can store some potential energy, and this type of potential energy is called the elastic potential energy. Energy can be stored in your food, in the fuels, and in the batteries also, and this energy is called the chemical energy. We can use this chemical energy to perform different work because different forms of energies are interconvertible, so we can change this chemical energy to any other form of energy, for example, potential energy, kinetic energy, or any other form of energy. Stored chemical energy can be changed into a form that can do work. For example, the stored energy in the food is released when you move. The energy that you use for the movement actually comes from the food that we eat. Food is the main source of energy for our body, so we need some energy from the food. That chemical energy stored in the food is used to perform different tasks. It can also keep our bodies warm. It means that it can also give us some heat energy. Here comes question number 9. You can see on your textbook there are three questions given here. You have to read the text and you have to answer these questions on the given place on the textbook. Question number 10. You have to write the three examples of potential energy in your home. Potential energy is actually the stored energy. You have to give three examples. Where do you think the potential energy is stored in any object or anything? Energy of motion. It means energy found in the moving objects. Actually, the forms of energies are interconvertible. It means one form of energy can be converted into other, and similarly it is true for all of that. Potential energy can be changed to kinetic energy, and the kinetic energy is actually the energy of motion. All the moving objects has energy of motion, or in other words kinetic energy in them. For example, the fan. When it is not moving, it is having some potential energy stored in that. When we turn it on, the potential energy changes into energy of motion or the kinetic energy, and the fan start moving. When it is moving, it is showing the energy of motion. Another example. A car moves when the chemical energy stored in the gasoline changes through the kinetic energy. In this example, we are changing the chemical energy into kinetic energy to move the car. Similarly, the stretch spring can release some energy, and the potential energy which was stored in the spring can now be changed into kinetic energy. Previously, we discussed the example of a snowboarder. He was having some potential energy stored in him. This energy can also be converted into kinetic energy when the skateboarder or the snowboarder moves the downhill. The energy can also be used to lift some objects. For example, the snowboarder carries a snowboard to the top of the hill, and when he is doing that, he and the snowboard both gain some potential energy. By using this potential energy, the snowboarder can easily slide to the bottom of the hill, or he can jump from one hill to another hill by using the same potential energy and changing it into kinetic energy. Here comes question number 11. You have to read the given passage on your textbook and you have to underline the words that tell you about the kinetic energy. Energy can travel. It can travel from one place to another. It can travel from one object to another object. How this energy travels? Actually, when two objects strike with each other or they collide with each other, they exchange energy. Some of the kinetic energy of the moving object is passed to the second object, which may be or may be not moving. When an object which is moving, it is having some kinetic energy, strikes to an object which is not moving, it gives or passes some of its energy to the other object, and the other object also start moving. Have you ever gone for the bowling? It is a very interesting game. There is a heavy ball and there are some pins at some distance. You have to throw the ball to hit the pins. Actually, what happens in the beginning, the pins are very still, but when you move the balls, it hits the pin, the ball slows down and the pins start moving. It means the ball has given his kinetic energy to the pin, and by using this kinetic energy, the pins are now able to move. They are now having the kinetic energy, and during this process, some of the energy changes into heat energy, and this energy is lost into the environment. But the total amount of energy always remains the same because law of conservation of energy is always followed. It means energy cannot be produced, energy cannot be destroyed, but yes, energy can change from one form to another, And in this example, the kinetic energy of the ball is changed into kinetic energy of the pins, and some of the energy is changed into heat energy, and it is gone into the environment. Question number 12. There is a paragraph given in your textbook. You have to read this paragraph, then take two different colors. With the one color, you have to circle one cause, anything which is happening. Then use a different color to circle one effect of that cause. Here comes your homework questions. There are two questions given here. Question number 1, define the following. You have to write the definitions of potential energy and kinetic energy in your notebook or on the loose sheet, and you can take help from the glossary given on textbook page number 119. Question number 2. Enlist some activities from your daily life where potential energy changes into kinetic energy. You have to write some examples from your daily life where you think the change from potential energy to kinetic energy is happening. That was all for today. Thank you.